Hello to you from my phone camera yet again. Today is November 24th. It is the last Wednesday of NaNoWriMo. And so that means that we are in the final stretch, the final week, the final push to get our goals. How is it going for you? I hope that you are achieving whatever goals you set out, whether that's the 50K or the, whatever else you want to use NaNoWriMo to kick your butt in gear for. I am at, I can tell you this time for sure, I am at 44,199. So I have about 6,000 more words to do, so I'm feeling like I'm on track. Like I'm going to be able to finish on time, which is great because I was really not sure at the beginning whether I was going to be able to make this happen. I won NaNoWriMo in 2019, which was my first one. And then in 2020, 2020. So it just didn't happen. And I was worried that this year was going to be kind of along the same lines, that I wasn't going to be able to replicate what I did in 2019. But luckily, that was not the case. I typed a lot of words, and I'm very excited about that. Story's a mess. Just a lot of rambling and a lot of places where I decided to add something in the middle of writing a scene and oh yeah, this character exists now. Guess I'll just leave myself a little note about going back and making this character exist in the previous 20,000 words. But that's zero drafting. That's what happens. We find new fun things to throw our future selves at, because there's never a way to plan for the surprises that come with zero drafting. So as we're in this final week, you may be feeling, as I am, that energy reserves are kind of being depleted. Things are getting tougher. It's harder to push yourself to get more words sometimes, and it's a struggle for each one of those words. Each one comes with a price to pay, and if you're anything like me, having some kind of little motivational thing is really advantageous for that. I know a lot of people have been doing different rewards ideas, and the Hershey Kiss thing is a pretty common one that I've seen go around. Every day that you get your word count, you get a little Hershey's Kiss, and that's fun. I've been doing something similar with I found a pack of Lindor lint truffles, those ball-shaped ones. So I've been doing that for my daily word count. But then I've also been doing bigger rewards too, because for those milestones, I think that it's really helpful to me to have a little dopamine hit for getting to push myself to get to the next milestone. I once asked on Twitter what people thought about word milestone rewards, and the very first response was someone saying the word count itself is its own reward. And cool, good for you. I'm glad that system works for you, and you are at a place where you can derive joy simply from seeing your word count increase. But That's not enough for me, and that's definitely not enough for me during NaNoWriMo. There needs to be some sort of like external little bonus to drive me forward. When you're doing like real life work, that bonus is called a paycheck, and you know that as you are working, there's a point to it. You're gonna get a paycheck at the end of it. When you're doing NaNoWriMo, or any other writing, if you're doing writing as a side hustle, there's no like external kind of motivating factor, and so I think it's really important to make that for yourself. And so every 10K I've been doing just kind of little bonus rewards things, like my husband and I went out for ice cream once. I got a fancy coffee kind of thing, kind of little stuff, but just extra bonus things that felt a little bit indulgent. And that's been really helpful to me. I'm glad that I planned for that. I'm glad that I decided to do that at the beginning, because I think having that as like the carrot on the stick has been really good for me. So I wrote actually a whole blog post about rewards and different ways that you might give yourself rewards and different ideas for rewards. And even if you haven't been doing rewards all through Nano, if you need a little push at the very end, now's the time to think about it. Like, okay, if I do 5,000 more words before the end of Nano, I get a blank. And even if you're not planning on getting the 50K, whether that was your initial goal or not, if you're doing maybe like a timed goal, like I want to write 30 minutes a day, or if you're doing a editing goal, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be tied directly to NaNoWriMo or word counts. Adding in some kind of little bonus for yourself can really help, make this happen at the very end when it's becoming quite hard and your brain is fried and you're running on 14 cups of coffee and the whole thing. You guys are here too. You know what it's like. So yeah, check out my blog post. I've got just a couple, little ideas, like here's what I did sort of thing. And maybe that'll spark something for you that you can do for yourself in this final week and push yourself to go through this last week and strong and be proud of what you did, and then get a fun little something at the end. I have been writing kind of after the midpoint. I finished my midpoint. I don't remember whether I talked about that on the last blog or not, but like the midpoint was just like nuts, bonkers. I did talk about it on the last vlog, yeah, because I talked about like probably needing to cut it out later, and it's fine. That's probably still true, but I'm not thinking about that yet. So anyway, I've been doing the like bad guys close-in scenes. If you follow Save the Cat structure, it's the bulk of the second half of the book. And sorry, I'm just like looking over at my Scrivener document, which is not helpful to you guys, but I've been struggling a little bit, and I find that I always struggle in the fun and games and the bad guys close-in section. And previously, what I have done is known that there's a gap in my outline. Like, here's this huge section where I need something to happen. Like, I need to get from here to the midpoint, but I don't know what comes in between. I thought I planned it in my outline enough, but it wasn't enough to, write 20,000 words on. And so in the past, I've gotten to that point and then gotten stuck, sitting there staring at the document, becoming anxious about needing to get words, and not being able to break myself out of that kind of mental cycle to either like pull back and like go back to my outline and revise that, or just move on. So this time I decided to, in my Scrivener document, so it's still, counted for my word count and everything, I just typed out kind of author's notes, a list of ideas. Like, this is what I got right now. I don't know. I know that there needs to be like another chapter or two here. Here's some things that might happen, but I just can't make my brain work on them enough to actually write the words. So like a bullet point list was approachable to me when coming up with brand new material just wasn't. But I knew my midpoint. Like, I knew that was the next kind of set piece that I would hang the plot off of. And then I found that the same thing happened to me in Bad Guys Close In. I wrote my midpoint, and then I got them out of that situation, and then I just like ground to a halt. I just stopped and I was stuck. And it was because like here I have this midpoint, and then way down the road I have this other thing that I know is gonna happen. And I thought that I had figured out how they would get from here to there, but it wasn't like enough. And so in the Bad Guys Close In section, again, I skipped a bunch of stuff. I had a whole chapter. I filled it with, I think, 4 or 5 different little scenes in Scrivener, like full of bullet pointed lists of like, here's kind of what I'm thinking for this scene, but I haven't thought it out enough. I haven't had the mental capacity to like sit down and really kind of analyze what this would do to the plot, what the impacts would be and the implications. So I'm just gonna skip it. I'm gonna figure it out later during my like first pass revision, and that's fine, because now I'm not stuck, because I knew, the next plot point, and I had visualized it, and I had kind of thought of the tone and some things that might happen and blah, blah, blah. I need to get to that next thing rather than just sitting here and agonizing over, this next, 6 or 8 scenes that I haven't visualized, but I know I need. So that's something to try. And also, let me say that I am, or have considered myself, a fully 100% linear drafter, beginning to end, straight through. And I think that that's part of what made me stuck in the past, is that I decided I am a linear drafter, and that is that, and so I need to figure out the scene before I move on. And that's just, it's not necessary at all. And you can still draft linearly even if you aren't, drafting to the same level of detail for all of your scenes. So if you're like me and you're like, no, I am linear, and that is that, I'm never gonna be a draft out of order kind of person, because like I can't write a scene far in the future without kind of going on the journey with the characters to know what they know, and know what their relationships are like, and know the crazy new twists and turns that I've added into the plot that I didn't plan for. So it caused me a lot of anxiety previously to attempt to jump ahead. So that's why I think that kind of like bullet pointed list of different ideas and ways that I thought that those scenes were going to go was really helpful, because it allowed me to kind of move past that and move past that idea that I couldn't I couldn't skip scenes. But I guess in this way, my brain was like, oh, I'm not skipping the scenes. So I like tricked myself. But yeah, so it's been a bit of a slower momentum for a couple of days. And then once I decided I'm moving on, then I was just like, clackety clackety clack, like that gif of Bruce Almighty when he's typing at the computer and he's just like, that's me right now. And that's been really good. Like, that's been really good for my motivation, and like that momentum swing was really helpful to my mood and my outlook on whether Nano was even possible. So yeah, if you're feeling stuck, just write yourself some notes and move on. Don't like agonize over this one particular scene. Move on and write what you have already visualized. And I have read a lot of advice. This is not something I've done myself, but a lot of advice is to write the end first, or write the end before you've done all of everything else. So if you have the end visualized, if you've thought about it and you know kind of how you want it to go ahead and skip to the end. Go ahead and skip to the All Is Lost, or the Dark Night of the Soul, or whatever scene that you have kind of in your head. Don't limit yourself on this one scene that you're stuck on, because if you get stuck now, it's demoralizing and it's really hard to kind of build that excitement back up once you have like kind of gotten it in your head that you're stuck here and this is where you are. So give yourself permission to just move on. That's my advice. Also, other advice is reward yourself when you've done it. Maybe moving on from this scene is worthy of a coffee from Starbucks for you. Maybe that's your carrot on your stick. Go ahead and do that. Go ahead and celebrate the accomplishments that you've done. And getting unstuck from a scene is an accomplishment. This is me telling you that you should reward yourself and celebrate your accomplishments. Do it. It's important. And it'll make you feel better. And it'll make Nano more fun and more doable. So do it. Also, go check out my blog. I have a list over here of like things I want to talk about. So that's why I keep, Also, I'm not good at blogging. So there's that. Yeah, go check out my blog where I talked more about reward stuff. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe and comment, and do all the YouTube stuff. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed chatting about writing and the kind of mental aspect of writing, and talking about our struggles, our challenges, and ways that we can motivate ourselves to move on, give me a subscribe, and there will be more videos like this in the future, and there will also be more videos not like this. I'm planning on doing some other kinds of things after Nano is done that are not just vlogs, and all of that will be in future videos. I'll let you know what's going on. I'm also fairly active on Twitter if you would like to follow me there and chat a little bit more real time. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.